Hello everyone. Today we're going to take a look at the S6 respirator or gas mask and its Haversack and contents. Just note I'm kind of revisiting a few videos on my channel as I feel like I've done them a little bit poorly, or they were either a bit too long or whatever. The S6 was, so a little bit of history behind the S6. The S6 was designed in about 1950s, and it was ultimately introduced to the British Army in 1966 and ultimately served the British Army right all the way up until the 1980s, so I believe about 1986, where it was phased out of service and was replaced by the S10. The S6 would also serve alongside the light anti-gas respirator that served in service. Now, the S6 is probably famous because of the Iranian embassy crisis, I think it is, correct me if I'm wrong, where some members of the SAS wore these masks. So without any further ado, let's break one out and let's take a look at its contents. So I might as well get everything out. So this is practically most of the contents that came with my example. So what's dominating the shot right in the middle is the S6 respirator. Of course, like I said, quite famous for the Iranian embassy where the members of the SAS don these. We do have a filter that is mounted on the side, very similar to the light anti-gas respirator. And that this one is dated 22nd of October 1980. So this is well expired. But of course, filters past, I think, sometime in the 1970s do not contain asbestos. So we, like I said, the S6, to which I believe this one's an Avon, 1972. So 73 SR6/2 GD, and then on the head harness itself, it is stamped. If you'll focus, 71, so 1971. And then what's well, not really what's dominating, sort of things to the right. This, I do not know what this is. It's a rather odd little item that came with my example. It's possibly made out of Bakelite or plastic. So far, the only markings I've been able to find is Rascal 1986. Yeah, it's 1986. So if anyone knows what that is, let me know. And then here we have the anti-dimming outfit, Mark 7. So of course, this is basically the exact same as the wartime one, except the only difference is that it has a stock number and the instructions are slightly different. This one does have the cloth. However, the actual compound itself I cannot get inside of. This one was made in 1983. So that's quite nice. And now we're going to talk about some of the decontamination kit. So we'll start from, well, we'll continue on with the right side, seeing how I've been talking about this and the Mark 7 anti-dimming outfit. We have two things of detector paper. We have one in the original packaging, and we have one that's outside the packaging. So as you can see, these are still in their original, I guess, I'm just going to refer to it as NATO packaging, as really that's what it is. It's just basically just a plastic vacuum seal bag. And as you can see, that one in there is practically unissued. There's a stock number up there or there. This one's 1981. Detector paper, chemical agent, number 2, Mark 2, liquid 1 color, PR 351A, JDL. And as you can see, that is practically unissued, besides from a little bit of dirt. We can actually take a look at this one because it's actually not in the packet. So it's basically the exact same, is what's on the front here. But however, this one's dated April 1980. We can actually take a look on the inside. There's the instructions. You can pause to read those. And we move this bit of paper. That is the paper itself, so you'd stick that to you or a weapon. So we can just flick through all of this. But as you can see, it is all complete. There is all bits of detector paper. There was probably one here, maybe. And there was probably one at the back, but it's gone. But either way, that is a really nice piece to have. And now we'll finally going on to the left side. And really, we have two decontamination kits. So here we have Decontamination Kit, Personal #1 Mark 1. This one is dated, if the camera will focus. This one is dated 1983. Just drop it on down. There's the instructions, so I'll let you pause to read that. Just like that. But basically, it's these. So it's a bag. So what you do is you would, so these two have been obviously taken out. So the two up here. So what you do is you would rip it out, blotch it, bang it. And of course that would act as decontamination, not only for you, but mainly for your weapon, which is what is what is stated in the Survive to Fight manual. I do have one. Either way, that is a very nice piece. These are getting a little bit hard to find nowadays. And then finally, we have the final bit of decontamination, also in also in NATO packaging. So as you can see, it says Decontamination, Personal, #2 Mark 1, NATO, and that's the stock number right there. So really, so what this is in here, this is if the camera could focus, it's a powder, and it will cover 2 applications of socks, boots, and webbing. So whatever socks you was issued, whatever boots you was issued, and your 58 pattern webbing. So that's just basically a powder in NATO packaging. That is quite nice. And what we'll do is we'll talk a little bit more about the mask. So I've removed the filter from the masks just so it makes it a little bit more easier to handle. But basically, you have your filter intake right here, and then this would, I guess this would be your voice diaphragm in there. Don't know, the rubber's there. Of course, you've got your 2 big lenses. You've got nasal area, so a bit for your nose that was actually built out, unlike most masks. And then on the inside, you got a very good, if I can just do that, there's a little POV. So that's your voice diaphragm there. You might have noticed, what was that? That is your hermetic seal. Yes, believe it or not, this mask has a hermetic seal. And that was really meant for like the changing climates and stuff. And what this allows a perfect seal around the wearer's face. But other than that, it's a pretty nice mask. I typically call this the Gucci mask because of how expensive they are. And what we shall do is just take a look at the Haversack and see how all the contents would be stored inside the Haversack. So here we have the Haversack that it would come in. So as you can see, we have one pocket out here, into which in this pocket here would contain the Decontamination Kit, Personal #1 Mark 1, and it's always secured in a nice little Velcro pocket. You have a bit down there to secure the bit of whipcord, which was introduced on the Mark 7 general service respirator. Then you have your carrying strap. Of course, it's held in place by a carabiner here, and it's just wrapped around there. On this side, of course, you have your bit of whipcord right there, so you can tie that around the body. To which then on the inside, on the top, you're supposed to have 2 pairs of gloves, an inner and an outer. And as you can see, the respirator is supposed to go in here. You're supposed to have a spare, you're supposed to have 2 filters with this, so you're supposed to have one on the mask and the spare one. Get into the spare one a little bit later. So there's the mask, and I just have the this stored inside of the respirator. And then, as you can see, it's fairly packed out. So what we have in this compartment here, we have if I can get it out, we have the filter, which yes, that is what that compartment is meant for. If I ever get another S6 filter, then it will be going in there. And then, as you can see in here, you have the detector paper on this side, and then you have the personal decontamination kit. These are for combo pens. Unfortunately, you can't get original combo pens, as the combo pens contained a drug. You can get training combo pens, which can go in here. They do the exact same thing, but they're just training aids. And if you can look down, if I can get the light in there, as you can see, there is the Mark 7 anti-dimming outfit in the bottom, which is held in by an elastic strap, very similar to the Mark 6 general service respirator Haversack. So then, I hope you found this video informative and enjoyable on the S6 respirator. It's certainly an interesting topic to do, as especially the S6 is more or less a really nice mask to have in the collection. But also the fact is that it's a really comfortable mask to wear. And also the fact is that I think the S6 is really like an underappreciated mask to have. And I think if you have the money to get one, because they are really nice and you will not regret it. But however, if you're left-handed, for instance, right, they did make them in left-handed variants, but however, the left-handed ones are, I think they're a little bit more harder to find. But other than that, they are practically the exact same thing. So if you enjoy this sort of stuff, then please subscribe, like the video, and also turn on notifications. Leave a comment, as well as your comments will be greatly appreciated. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.